guys, and welcome to Sammy Scrolls, where I tell you all about some of the best books out there. In this episode we're looking at Elvis and Me. I've been an Elvis fan since I was 6 years old, and I learned all about his life and how he was married, and I thought it was wonderful. Then when I was about 14, I went to my first Elvis concert. Obviously it wasn't actually Elvis, he was on a big screen. But yeah, I went to my first concert and I met my first Elvis fans. For a long time I thought I was the only one, because everyone used to point out how weird it was that I was an Elvis fan and that he wasn't alive anymore and everything. So to finally be surrounded by thousands of them, it was quite an experience. But after finally meeting my first Elvis fans, it didn't take long for me to be exposed to the Priscilla hate. But I never actually understood it from what I could tell. She never did anything wrong. And, I mean, she wasn't perfect, but who is? I've never heard of anything that actually justified the amount of hate that she gets. And it went so far that when I was a kid I was told not to read this very book because it's all fabricated and everything, and I just heard all these horrible rumors. And being a kid and finally meeting people with similar likes to me, I guess, I wanted to please them, so I never did read it. But then as I got older, I started to understand how jealousy works. Like, when I was a kid I didn't understand why people would get so upset about a picture of Elvis kissing someone or something. I was like, big deal. But when I got a bit older I realised why there was so much jealousy around and what that actually meant. So I thought, oh, maybe that's where all this nonsense is coming from. A bunch of people are having a crush on Elvis and it's a whole lot of immature ridiculousness, which a lot of it was. But I also came across people who genuinely hate Priscilla, and I could not understand why. So I thought, if it's in this book, if this is the reason, then I want to know about it, because I like to know my Elvis stuff. It's something I've always been known for. If you've got a question about Elvis, you come to me. I'm like a walking encyclopedia, I've been told. And to have this big blank spot in my knowledge, I thought, no, I need to fix this. So finally, I decided to give it a go. The book started by absolutely breaking my heart. But in a good way, sort of. It starts by talking about August 16, 1977, which to every Elvis fan, you know, that's the day that Elvis passed. And I wasn't born until over a decade later, but it still hurts to think of someone that I love so much passing, whether I knew them or not. Elvis has been a massive influence on my life, so starting the book out that way, I was not ready for it, but it did something. It was really clever and unique. Why they started that way I totally get, because from the first page you can understand how much Priscilla loves Elvis, and so it sets you up for the rest of the book. You understand that this is how it ends, so all the way through you sort of have that in the back of your mind. It was very well done. So then we go through how they met, and it's really uplifting, and I often felt really giddy and giggly after it, because the excitement of new love is infectious and it jumps right off of the pages of the book. It's just so cute, some of the stuff that happens. Then as Priscilla grew, so did their relationship, and it was really sweet, and I loved the way they interacted with each other. It was so cute. Something really special is that you can tell how much he cared for her, because it really shows through all of their different little interactions and their cute little way they talk. They have their own little language sort of thing. It's really endearing to see that. But then as the years go on, or the chapters in this case, the moments of love and romance became fleeting, and my heart ached for Priscilla, because she loved Elvis so much, and to give so much of herself, I don't think she could have given any more love than she did. She was literally, heart, mind, body, soul, everything was completely dedicated to Elvis, and there were times where she got very little back, and that would be really, really hard to handle. And then you've got all the reports while he was off at the movies about all the different starlets that he was having flings with, and we sort of know how Elvis was with the ladies. So to be so filled with love for someone and then have to deal with, no, don't come out, I'll see you in a few weeks' time, and don't believe anything that's written in the papers, it's all not true. Like, that'd be horrible. As I was reading, I sort of felt betrayed right along with her, and I adore Elvis, but there were times where it was like, can he not see how much this woman is trying to give to him, and he's just like, meh. It was difficult to read sometimes. But then they got married, and it was rushed and kind of chaotic and full of drama, but it was still really sweet. And the birth of their baby girl, she's an absolute darling, and hearing about how Priscilla just completely fell in love with Lisa straight away, and Elvis was the same, was worried because she was so small and delicate and he didn't know how to hold her or anything. Like, hearing that vulnerable side of Elvis, because in my world he's always been like this strong person, he's always there, he's always got an answer, and it's hard for me to imagine that kind of Elvis where he is delicate and nervous and afraid, and little baby Lisa brought that out in him. It was really sweet to see that more human side of him. It was good to, like, well, you felt like you were there with them. Like, I say reading about it, but this book's so well written that you do feel like you're in the room while it's happening, and to see that sort of scene play out, and it was so clear that these are two people that love each other very, very, very much through everything. It doesn't matter how much trouble they faced or how rocky their relationship has been or anything. At the end of the day, they have love for each other, and that's that. But then, I mean, we all know what happens. Like, Elvis's career became more and more strenuous, and there were more reports, and then Elvis is away for longer because he's finally broken free from the movie contracts, so now he's out touring, and Elvis was very much a guy's guy, so it was hard to have the women around, and, you know, it put a strain on their marriage as it would anyone's. But as I said, we all know how it ended, and it was terribly sad. But as the book came to a close, I was still wondering what Priscilla did and why she caught so much flack. Like, Elvis and Priscilla were perfect for each other. They weren't perfect people, but they were perfect for each other, and that's what matters. They both made mistakes, and they both admitted to it like adults in their own way, but they did. And the decision to part was mutual. They walked in and held hands while they were divorcing and walked out of the courthouse holding hands. It was very clear that there was no love lost. And I think after reading this, I really think that had Elvis lived, he would have gotten back with her. I really do think that they were supposed to be together. Their relationship to a lot of people was controversial and not ideal, but to them it was everything they needed or wanted. It's just how it was, and I think they just needed some time to themselves. Like, Priscilla had been with Elvis, or at least involved in some way with Elvis, since she was 14. She was just a baby, so she'd never really had time to be herself and find out who Priscilla is. And Elvis went from being in poverty and living in housing projects to being the most famous person to ever walk the planet. Like, literally before Elvis, no one had ever achieved that amount of fame. So how was he supposed to deal and know who he was and what he wanted and what was going on? He went from having nothing to now he had the world at his feet. I think really they just needed some time apart to level themselves again, and I honestly think they would have gotten back together. So I was thinking, I mean, sure, there's many things that I don't understand about Priscilla. Like, the most obvious one is why she still uses her ex-husband's name. Like, I find that a bit strange, but it doesn't make me mad. I'm not angry at her for it. It doesn't make me not like her or anything. It's just a curious thing to do. And after reading this book, I've come to like her even more than I did before. I mean, good on her for still being there for Elvis, even after all this time. It doesn't matter what the public does to her or what people think of her. At the end of the day, she loves Elvis. She will always love Elvis, and she will always be there. And he's still her child's father, even though he's not here. Like, Elvis is never going to go. He might have gone in body, but in spirit he'll always be here, and she's still there for him and taking care of business, as the cliche goes. Elvis fan or not, I recommend reading this because you get an insight into a, I suppose, controversial relationship, and there's a lot to be learned. Reading it, you can even learn things, and it makes you reflect on your own relationship. I still just don't get why people hate her so much. I don't understand. I'm so confused. If you've read this book, come and chat to me about it. I'd love to know what you think. You can find me on the Sammy Scrolls Facebook page, or right here on YouTube, or I've actually got an Elvis fan club, Elvis for the Young. It's on Facebook as well, so I'll chuck all the links in the description below. Come and talk to me, let me know, and if you like Priscilla, come chat to me. If you don't, maybe explain why. I'd love to understand your point of view, because I genuinely don't get it, and I don't mind that people don't like her, each to their own. I just don't understand the hate. I don't get it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to hearing all your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Take care until I see you next time. Bye.